management. This is going to be a two-part series, and let me tell you, this is probably one of the most important videos that you are going to watch. Make sure you look at this before you go off into the market, especially if you decide to go live. Before we get started, here's a little bit about myself. My name is Adeze Duncan, representing iMarkets Live. Some of you may know me from Forex 101 on IML TV. Also, I was an educator for 10 years, and now I'm here educating you on the facts and methods of Forex. In order to get started on this journey, you need to remember one thing and one thing only. I am a student, always. This is very important for you to remember and to remind yourself of often. You will hear me use this phrase frequently as a reminder that you are a student that is learning a skill that will pay you for the rest of your life. Make sure that you take your time and learn what you need to learn. Pace yourself. Do not compare yourself to anyone else's progress. Always keep a winning mind frame, and you will do very well in this industry. Here are some videos that I suggest you take a look at before or after you watch this video, just to help you understand the materials that you're learning in this video. Upon finishing this video, you should have a very good understanding of the following questions. Read through them quietly to yourself. As you are taking notes, make sure to pause this video in order to answer these questions. Here is some important vocabulary that you may want to pause the video in order to write down. When you are finished, go ahead and resume. So what you see here is the demo and the live, okay? Most of us, hopefully by now, are very familiar with demo and live, and if you have not yet set up your demo and live account, please go to IML Train. They do an amazing job of going through that. Now, I'm going to just say this, you guys. It's so important that you be in your demo account. There's nothing wrong with being in a demo account. Stay in it as long as you feel like you need to. You have nothing to prove to anybody, not even to yourself. You have nothing to prove. Don't rush yourself, guys. You're learning a skill that can pay you for the rest of your life. How would you feel if you had a pilot and you got on an airplane and they said to you, "Good evening, passengers. Today is, this is your captain, Mrs. Duncan speaking, and today is my very first time flying an airplane, but we're going to see how this works." How would you feel about that? I'm sure you wouldn't be very thrilled. You'd be ready to get off the plane. In the same way, before you go live, do not try to fly that plane without at least going in your demo account. All pilots practice in demo accounts, so you should too practice in your demo until you get a strategy and a plan ready. So this slide is probably the most important slide of all of the slides in this entire video. It says risk no more than 1 to 3% of your total account on one currency pair trade. Okay, a lot of people get this wrong. Too many people are just so excited to trade that they're just throwing down whatever they type in. They don't even know. They've heard about standard lots being able to trade $10 per pip, and that's what they want. And a lot of times your account can't handle it. So many people have blown their entire account. And when I say blown, if you don't know yet, that means you've lost pretty much all the money you've deposited. They've blown their account because they are not respecting the protection of their account. They're just putting whatever lot size. So in order to help you stay in the game the longer, for the long haul, you need to risk no more than 1 to 3% of your entire account. So that means if you deposit $1,000 into your account, and let's say you want to trade the Euro USD, if you're going to, if you're less risky and you want to risk 1%, that means you're only going to be losing $10. If you are more riskier, 2%, that means you'll be losing $20 if it goes bad. 3%, you're losing $30 if it goes bad. You are only in control of how much you can lose. Guys, don't give up the only control you have in the entire Forex trading market. It is the only thing you have 100% control over. So, if you don't mind, letting the market decide, it's kind of like having a thief watch your house. Make sure that you determine how much you want to lose and how much you will lose if it goes bad, alright? I want you to pause this video and look at this chart. This chart is awesome because it kind of gives you an example of the importance of protecting your account. Most of the time, people don't even know what they're risking. But let's just say that you are like, I can risk 10% of my account. Not a big deal. Look at what happens after 13 different trials. let's just assume that you had a losing streak of 13 losses. And absolutely, guys, you can lose 13 times or more in a row. So imagine you have, a 13 streak loss, and you were trading 2% of your account. If you see, like at the end of 13 losses, you still have 78% of your account. That means you can go on and live again and trade again. But after 13 losses at 10% risk, do you see you only have 28% of your account left? Now, that's just not using good judgment. The very first rule of trading, guys, is to protect our money. The second rule is to make our money. The third rule is to go back to rule number 1, which is protect the money. And then you just keep doing those in sync. We want to protect what we got first before we gain anything more. Something else to keep in mind when you are trying to have good risk management is the type of trader you are or the type of trade you're going to be taking. A lot of people like to come to the market and scalp, which means they're only in the market for a few minutes. And whenever you do that, you're only going to need like a 1 to 10 pip stop, okay? An intraday trader, they usually trade many times throughout the day for a few hours. They don't hold it overnight, and you're going to require a 10 to 40 pip stop. A day trader, they like to hold trades for maybe several days. They can hold them overnight. You're going to need a much wider stop, so between 20 and 80 pips. A swing trader is going to require, several days to weeks at a time, and they will hold it over the weekend. They're going to need a much wider stop because the market moves all over the place and you got to give it room to do its thing. Then you've got position traders. They like to hold it for months at a time. You're going to need a huge amount of stop loss. There have been people that were upset because of the swing trades. They're like, well, this thing requires 150 stops. Absolutely it does. Why? Because you're holding it for weeks at a time. You gotta give it room to breathe, guys. Take a moment to pause your computer and go to my FX book, click on that link or type that link into your URL, or just go to Google, okay, and get here, because this is what we're about to go over, the position size calculator, my best friend. So what you would want to do, first of all, to get to the position size calculator, you would go to Google and you could type in position, you can already see it, position size calculator, okay? And my favorite one is the one that says my FX book. So I always click on that one, letting it go, alright? So now, this thing right here is your best friend. You know what, they actually have an app for this. I use this for pretty much every single trade that I get into. And after a while, you'll start to see similarities and you'll start to kind of remember what your lot size should be, because you might have seen a scenario before. However, again, for just starting off and even experience, use this for every trade to make sure you're protecting your account. So you have, let's say, remember we're using 3%. 3% is what we're riding with, but do know that your trade can go anywhere from 1 to 3%. So it can be 1.5, 1.2, 2%, 3%, anything after 3%, and now you're kind of getting into risky territory. All right. First rule, guys. Remember, our first rule is to protect our money. The second rule is to make our money, and then the third rule is to protect our money. Okay, so that's our rules. All right, so here you go. 3%. Oh, excuse me. Where it says account size, you want to type in whatever it is that you plan to deposit. So I'm going to just say $1,000. I deposit $1,000. My risk is 3%. And then you want to determine your stop loss based off of the number of pips that you're okay with risking, or whatever you calculated, because eventually you're going to start calculating how much of a pip stop you're going to need. So maybe this particular trade needs 37 pips. You can figure that out just by, when you start drawing up your own charts, you'll start to figure that out. Sometimes they'll tell you, okay, this is going to require 35 pips that you're risking. But if you are doing it yourself, maybe it might be like, okay, 37 pips is what you need, all right? So, I'm doing that wrong, sorry guys. 3% here. This is where you do it. 37 pips is what I'm willing to risk. And now I can see, all right, if this trade goes bad, I will lose $30. Okay, I can sleep good still. And this is what I will put in my calculator. Not my calculator, this is what I will put in my phone or on my computer where it says lot size, the volume, that little decimal thing. This is what I will put. I can either just do one big fat trade of a .08, lot size. I can open up one position at .08, or I can split it up into multiple smaller trades, all totaling this. And I'll actually show you how to do that on the next slide. Now, I talked about what type of trader you are, or what type of trade you're taking, specifically because I wanted you to be mindful of the kind of stop loss you're going to require. Because this is one of the major reasons why people don't trade correctly. They don't have the right stop loss, or they're in the wrong trade, or they're in the right trade with the wrong size stop loss. So this is how you calculate your actual lot size. Okay, so you would want to use, say you deposited $1,000, you had a risk of 2%. If you are an intraday trader, then you're going to be trading somewhere between 10 and 30 or so pips. Okay, so that's why I have 35. Maybe the max amount that you're willing to lose is 35 pips for this particular trade. Here's another slide that kind of talks to you about why not every trade is for everyone. It depends on your account size. Okay, so if you want to make a lot of money fast, you need to deposit more money to grow it, or grow it patiently. Now, what do I mean by that? I got two scenarios. Let's say you want to make 50 cents per pip. Okay, maybe some of you are like, oh yay, woo, yay, 50 cents. All right, well, some of you are like, yeah, okay, 50 cents. So now, how much would it take, if you're a scalper, how much do I got to come to the table with in order to scalp and at least get 50 cents per pip? You need $100, which would require a maximum of 6 pips stop. If you're an intraday trader, you would need to come with at least $500 for a maximum pip stop of 30 pips. All right. If you are a day trader, you got to at least have $1,000 to be able to swing at least 60, or excuse me, at maximum 60 pips. So if it goes over 60, you cannot take the trade. All right. If you're a swing trader, you got to at least come with $2,000 to be able to handle 120 pip stop loss. So if the swing trade is requiring 200 pips, you can't take that trade, or you got to deposit more money, one of the two. Or you're going to just have to take less than 50 cents. A position trader would have to come with $5,000 in order to trade, or in order to have at least a 300 pip stop. Do you understand how you got to have a lot of money, or you're going to have to lose out? You're not going to be able to get as much per pip. Now, so many of you guys are enticed by the almighty standard lot. If you want them $10 per pip to be a scalper, you got to come with at least $1,667 for the same number of pip stops. You can look at this chart and see. As a position trader, to make $10 per pip with 300 stop loss, you've got to have $100,000. And no, I'm not talking about leveraging. I mean, you come with 100 grand. Okay, so not everybody can trade standard lots, or not every single trade setup is a standard lot trade setup. Okay, I hope that makes sense. By now, you should have a good understanding of the following questions. Read them quietly to yourself, and when you are finished, go on to the next video in this series. Thank you so much. My name is Adeze Duncan, and remember, I am a student always.